Well, hi everybody. A beautiful day here at the TAW Riverside Sanctuary, and we're going to get underway. This is kind of awesome. The first ever TAW remote. My name is Tim. Thanks for being along for the ride. Across from me, great friend of mine and yours, Craig Hester. Craig, thanks for doing the remote. Man, this is awesome.
We're excited. This is awesome, man. Fun time.
It's thanks to everybody to help put this together, so we're able to shoot on the property. And as you can see, it's a beautiful day. And with that stated, we're going to go ahead and jump into this. I will tell you that we have got, seriously, some fantastic lineup. And Craig, to open this, let's talk about that we are not going to be showing prices on the show, but you guys can hit the link, whether you're watching us on YouTube Live or Facebook Live. There's a very obvious link. Just hit that, and the whole thing will drop down for you guys.
Yeah, this is an all Vostok-Europe show, which is fitting. Because we just got done with JCK. For those of you who don't know what JCK is, that is actually the name of it. Funnily enough, Igor didn't even know what it stood for. It's Jeweler's Circular Keystone, which actually started as a magazine, and then it grew into the trade show.
So that, that's a few weeks back now, and it was, it always has, well, actually it's not true, I was going to say always in Vegas. There's several, but the big one, if you want to do watches, is the Las Vegas gig, and that was your fifth or sixth?
Sixth one.
Sixth.
Best one we've ever had. We had really great, people are really starting to know the brand. We had really great feedback. We picked up a lot of new retailers. It was a great show. Abe was there with us. At the show in Vegas, Abe Weiss, the man, the myth, the legend. And a big shout out to the Vostok-Europe Timepieces group on Facebook. And if you're not a member of Vostok-Europe Timepieces, you want to join, because that's where you get all of the first news about everything. In fact, we did a sneak peek there at JCK that was on VET group for a good day or so before we put it anywhere else. So we've got an all Vostok-Europe lineup. We've got 2 Gaz limos and 2 Lunacodes. So yeah, it's been a great few weeks, and we're excited to finally have the opportunity to do something in person with Tim.
Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things very quickly as we're ramping up here into the first piece. If you're not yet joined with the TAW email list, you really need to do so. It's free. We're not going to spam you. We hate spam as well. We only do one a day. You'll get daily deals. You'll get heads up on all of the specials. For example, the many thousands that are already on, and a heads up on the products that you guys are about to see with the special pricing. Also, a reminder, you can follow us through numerous social media, so you can check us out on, as an example, Facebook Live, I mentioned that. Also YouTube Live, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Google+. So if you have a favorite social media, we're all free over there, and especially on the YouTube. That's really exploded lately, so you guys should join us over there for sure. And also, as we're getting into this, keep in mind there are interest-free payments available if you qualify for PayPal credit. It'll be on the last page of the checkout at talkaboutwatches.com. So all you have to do is say, yes, I want it. Once you qualify, 6 months, nothing down, no payments, and if you pay the thing out before the 6 months, and it's flexible, you can do that however you want, there is no interest charge. So a very flexible, a very smart way to get in on what you're going to see today. With that stated, let's take a look, and Craig, it seems you've lined up a couple of them here.
Well, first of all, I want to mention that everything on this show is new to TAW except for one piece. We've done the bronze Energia before.
Very cool watch.
Yeah, and we brought that back basically as by popular demand, as they say.
Sure.
Because that one did so well before. But we decided to pick something that we hadn't done on TAW before. We've never really done the classic dressy Gaz limos before.
Right.
Well, we did the Power Reserve, but we haven't done these. I make a presumption most of the people watching this show are going to be familiar with Vostok-Europe, but I'll quickly run through that. For those of you who may be new to TAW, are new to Vostok-Europe, and by the way, that is not the soundtrack that has the wrong sounds. Do you remember that?
There's 2 things I remember. Let's address both of them right now. As I mentioned earlier, we really are shooting at the TAW Riverside edifice, and so any wildlife that happens by, that's one of the reasons we were working very hard to be able to shoot here, because who knows before we're done, because I've been out on this property before. It's very close to Black Rabbit, Nashville. and you can see sometimes there's bear, there's deer, there's turkeys, and cranes, and all sorts of prey birds. Sometimes behind Black Rabbit Nashville out in this general area, they will just start circling. So if we get lucky, we'll see some of that, and obviously we'll cut away and show it if that happens. So I wanted to address that with the soundtrack. Also, it's not a green screen. One of my favorite things is when Craig and I shot in Moscow.
We were in Red Square,
right?
In 08.
Yeah, and there was this huge thread that went up. I don't remember. It doesn't matter where it was. That insisted that we had green screened that, and I thought, it would have cost more to green screen it than it would just to do what we actually did, which is walk around in Red Square, which I got to tell you is two Americans that grew up prior to the Berlin Wall and the whole Iron Curtain thing. That was impactful. But we're way off a topic in a sense. But
what I was referring to, do you remember the story about how they were doing the golf shows, and some guy noticed that the bird sounds didn't match where they were? And they had to admit,
I don't know this.
Yeah, it was like I don't remember what network it was, CBS, NBC, or somebody. And because they weren't happy with the ambient sounds, they popped in a tape of ambient bird sounds from somewhere else. I want to meet this guy who noticed that's not.
Wait a minute. That's a scarlet tanager.
I'm
going to write a tersely worded email. This shall not stand, sir.
So anyway,
good day to you.
Good day to you. Vostok-Europe. Vostok-Europe is based in Vilnius, Lithuania. They are a boutique watch brand. I'm sure the bird sounds are different there as well. Boutique watch brand that we've been doing business with for now 15 years. My company, the Detente Watch Group, we were the third distributor in the world for Vostok-Europe, and we're one of their largest. They are just fantastic people, as Abe certainly learned. He finally got to meet Igor Zavovsky, the managing director, and his number one person, Valentina, and I make no effort to pronounce her last name because Igor would be laughing at me while he's watching the show if I did. They're in Vegas, and see just how wonderful salt of the earth people these guys are. And they build a fabulous watch. For a boutique brand, they do more than most boutique brands ever would do. I like to say they start with a blank piece of paper, and they finish with a completed watch. They have their own designers, they have their own watchmakers, everything is hand assembled there. It's a serious brand. So the Gaz Limo, most Vostok-Europes, as you'll see when we get to the Lunico 2 and we get to the Energia, most Vostok-Europes are sport watches. They're either dive, pilot, driving, they're serious sport watches, but they do keep one line of dress watches for those who want to have, they love Vostok-Europe, but they want to have a watch they can wear with a suit or wear out at night on the town or whatever, and not be wearing their big bulky sport watch. And that is the Gaz Limo, which is named for which was the dignitary limo at one point in the 1970s for Soviet dignitaries, Gaz 14 limo. Then we have two executions here. I'm going to start with, we have the OS-22, which is a chronograph. This is a quartz chronograph with the OS-22 movement. Who makes the OS-22? That's a Miyota.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Miyota.
Yeah, Miyota is, the OS-22, the Miyota OS-22 movement, which is the retrograde. So that gives you, when you start the chronograph, it gives you the sweeping retrograde at 1/20th of a second. So for the first 30 seconds, you can actually measure something at up to 1/20th of a second. And then to save battery power, the retrograde stops after the 30 seconds, but the chronograph would continue. So let's just talk about real quickly some of the things you can expect from any Vostok-Europe that you're going to see in here. Everything's surgical grade stainless steel. In this particular case, the only one we have here that has the Russian red plating on it, which is, as Tim and I both know, it's called Russian red because in Russia, and not just Russia, but in all of the Eastern Bloc world, gold is not yellow gold like we think of gold. Gold is rose tone. In fact, if you see a wedding ring or anything that's being worn by people from that part of the world, you're going to see rose tone, you're not going to see yellow. And that's why it's a richer, deeper, it's not a pink gold, it's a rich, deep red gold, and we call it Russian red. Now, these watches are only 5 ATM because of the fact they're dress watches. Most of the other watches with Vostok-Europe are going to be 200 meter or greater, which puts them in the professional grade dive quality. They use the K1 mineral crystal system, which gives you the best of both worlds. On the Mohs scale, a regular mineral is a 5, sapphire's a 9. The K1 is a 7, so it's right in the middle, so you don't have the shatter problems that you would get with a sapphire, and you don't have the scratch problems that you get with a regular mineral. It gives you really the best of both ends of the spectrum. This is a small watch by Vostok-Europe standards. This is a 43. So at one point that would have been considered a large watch, but we passed those days a long time ago. But there is a move back, as you know, Tim, to smaller watches. Vostok-Europe is keeping the 43s. I don't see them going any smaller than that. They're actually going to be coming out with some 43 millimeter expeditions.
Oh, that would be really cool.
Yeah, and
that's by holiday this year?
yes, definitely.
Awesome.
Oh, there's a lot of cool new stuff coming out. I don't have, unfortunately, I tried to convince Igor to let me keep the samples to show here, but he had some stuff going on in Europe that he had to have the samples. But we've got new watches coming out. You can see some of the videos, and I'm sure if they're not on TAW, we'll make sure that they're on there. The videos we shot in Basel that show the new stuff coming out. We shot some stuff in Vegas that show the new stuff. So there's some great new things coming out. Then the other example from the, let me tell you, the SKU numbers. All right, if you want the rows, and remember, for the period of time after this airs, there's a 5 to 7 day period, depending upon the decisions we make, that the best price you're going to get anywhere in North America, I can't control what happens outside of North America, but the best price you're going to get anywhere in North America on any of the products that are on the Talk About Watches show will be at Talk About Watches. And as Tim said earlier, we don't put stingers up with prices on the show because we want the show to be able to be evergreen. So if somebody wants to come back and learn about the watch and find out about the specs and so forth, they're not confused by a price that they can't get anymore.
Right.
You know, I don't like the disclaimer type. That's part of why we do this. I hate it when I'm watching a video and down at the bottom it says, these prices may no longer be available, blah, 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 blah. We don't have that issue here because we don't talk about price. If you want to see the price, you go to TAW. If it's still on the live special deal, it's going to be live on TAW.
Now, I will say in regards to pricing, and I'm just reiterating what Craig said, but just so everybody understands, if you are acting during this time period based on the TAW live remote event, it is guaranteed the lowest price in the entire country. So you can search high and low and whatever. And shipping is included.
Right.
So you're getting not only guaranteed the best price in the United States, shipping is included on every one of these. And there's no phone call required. All you have to do is just hit the link, and depending if you're watching YouTube Live or Facebook Live or any of the replays for that matter, the link will be right there. Hit that, you'll go to a page that has the entire spread. Now, obviously, the longer you wait, we can't guarantee all quantity. I mean, a sellout is a sellout, but as long as they're available, we guarantee the lowest price in the U.S. with shipping included. So you had moved actually from the Russian red to the white.
So here, I wanted to quickly tell you,
Yes.
if you're wanting the Russian red, it's the OS22 561 9296 is the SKU number. If you're looking at the stainless, it's the YM26 560 8254. Now the YM26, these are the multi-functions from Seiko. These are, Tim and I talk about this all the time. When it comes to Vostok-Europe, you're never going to see them do a basic three-hand quartz. If they're doing a quartz movement, it's a serious, heavy-duty quartz movement. It's going to have mechanical parts in it.
Yep.
It's going to have jewels in it.
Yep.
It is a serious quartz movement. These are many of the quartz movements that Vostok-Europe uses actually cost more than many automatic mechanical movements because there's so many. It's not complication in a quartz. It's a function. There's so many functions, and the way they're built, mechanical. So the this is the YM26, not the 86. This has several functions on it. It's a dual time watch. It is a world timer watch. So you can actually have the time in multiple countries. You're going to actually set it so that you're anchoring it against the time where you are. And as you move through, you'll know that if this long special hand that's on here is set to say at Melbourne, you're going to know that's what time it is in Melbourne. It has an alarm function as well, and this one does not have the chronograph, right? So the one we're going to talk about, the Lunicode, also includes a chronograph. So this is a multifunction world timer watch. This is the straight stainless steel, no plating, mostly a polished look on this. I think actually it's all polished. I thought there might have been an offset color. You know, sometimes they'll do a brush against it. This is an all polished.
The polish is excellent, by the way.
Oh yeah,
on these.
absolutely.
Beautiful mirror.
You know, I don't like to ever denigrate other brands, but I will tell you, being at JCK, and holding some of the other watches, and I'll just say other watches,
Seems more than fair.
It really reinforced to me the quality that goes into, and sometimes it's hidden quality. That we were talking with Igor because we're trying to put together some deals with where we would be producing watches in the hundreds for people. So we're trying to hit certain price points. And Igor's like, well, I can't do that because I'm not going to compromise on the quality of this or that. And like for instance, we don't have a bracelet today, but as Tim knows, Vostok-Europe's bracelets are just off the charts.
Gorgeous.
I mean, they're just gorgeous. I mean, I've held watches from Switzerland that are named after their bracelet, and the bracelet isn't nearly made as well as a Vostok-Europe bracelet. So you're getting the quality.
But I think that comes back to it being a boutique.
Right.
And it's I can't even remember exactly how many watchmakers, but
Seven. It's seven full-time watchmakers.
So the point is that they're basically creating a relative few watches a day,
Right.
which I find fascinating as Vostok-Europe continues to gain very deservedly popularity. One of the thoughts that's occurred to me is, when are they going to hit the wall?
Well,
and then are you guys going to move up in price? Because there's going to be this demand where you literally can't fill the order, and at that point, do you start moving up? I mean,
Right.
what's the solution? I don't know.
I think it may, and actually maybe 8 now, Tim, because Igor was talking about how he had actually trained a young watchmaker that just joined the group. Now, I don't know if somebody retired and he took their place or he's actually moved to 8. He's actually starting to what he's starting doing now is he's training his own young watchmakers because, as you know, a lot of the longtime watchmakers are retiring now.
Yeah.
And a lot of Igor's watchmakers, they're older. They're in their 50s, some of them in their 60s.
And Switzerland went through that for a while, like Edda, as an example, hit the wall where the guys were getting out of the biz, and at the time, the younger crowd wasn't into it.
But I
And there
think
was
that's
this-
changing.
It has. But there was a real concern for a while that the chairs would be empty.
Yeah. Well, the two watchmakers that we utilize, by the way, Détente Watch Group, every Vostok-Europe, every watch from our company that's on TAW has a 2-year North American warranty. We do repair the watches in the U.S. when in the unlikely event that should be necessary. And we have two watchmakers on contract that work for us. They're both under 30. They went to the watchmaking school in Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
and they do fantastic work. There's a resurgence of that as a career that had definitely died down after the quartz revolution.
And I also think that addresses and I know you get hit with this too, is the smartphone going to make the watch go away? No. Is the younger crowd going to lose interest in watches? I think the pendulum, initially I could understand where people thought that, but I said from day one that won't happen, because the reality is that there really isn't that much prestige in, who doesn't have at least one phone? All right? But when you have watches, you have personality. They can be specialized. They can be boutique. They can be prestige. They can be complex. They can be all these things that really a phone is not. So I think the resurgence is good. Let's get to
And I was going to
another
say,
piece.
that's a perfect segue to move on to the next watch, where we're talking about the greater level of complexity and the things that a boutique brand can do that are not necessarily going to be in the mainstream. And the Energia 2, by the way, I misspoke earlier. I said that we had 2 Lunico 2s. It's actually an Energia and a Lunico 2. In terms of complexity and the specialty features that a company like Vostok-Europe can bring to the table and
Right.
still be an affordable watch. I mean, again, affordable is always relative. What's affordable to one person isn't to another. But when you're talking about everything that goes into an Energia 2 and you're still south of $1,000, it's a lot of watch for the money. So this is the backed by popular demand, the bronze Energia with the pre-patina on it.
Yeah, and to be clear, not steel, because I've had to clarify a few times, and I'm sure you have too on Facebook, because not so much Vostok-Europe, but there are brands out there that do a bronze finish.
Right.
That is on sale. This is the real thing. For those of you that are fan, and I'm a fan of both actually. I like bronze finish steel, but if I had to pick a favorite, I love maritime bronze crafted into a wristwatch because of the patina, which means, as you'll see in the various shots we're bringing you, that you got that whole greenish thing going on. You want that, because as that continues to develop, no two are identical. It's a very cool
Right.
thing, I think.
And because Igor and I were talking about this in Vegas, because this is marine grade bronze and what goes into making it a marine grade level of bronze, the patina actually strengthens the metal. It is not, even though it
I
is,
didn't know that.
Yeah, even though it's an oxidization, I think I said that right.
Yes.
And technically what you would think of as rust, it isn't rust in the way that it's actually eating away at the metal, because the marine grade bronze, the patina actually creates a film that further protects the metal as opposed to eating away at it. So
Wow.
a patina is a good thing. Because I've had people ask me that, well, shouldn't I get a bronze polish out or whatever and get rid of the patina. No, you're actually strengthening the metal with the patina. So we'll get back to that in just a minute. Let me quickly state, first of all, one thing I didn't say about Vostok-Europe earlier is every watch has a story. We mentioned the gas limo with the ones we were talking about earlier. The Energia 2 is the world's largest rocket booster system, which was actually used to put their space shuttle, the Buran, into space. That's what this watch is named after. You can actually, if you see pictures of the booster system, you can see how the shapes that are on the side of the case are evocative of the way the rocket system is designed. As Tim mentioned, this is true marine grade bronze. Marine grade bronze, there are certain characteristics that have to be met for it to be considered marine grade. In the case of Vostok-Europe, it's what is often referred to as sulfur bronze because it's sulfur that's used as the doping alloy, whereas you always start with copper, whereas aluminum bronze, which is commonly used as a marine grade bronze in watches as well. In fact, one of the brands we represent, Delta T, they do aluminum bronze. The two big differences between sulfur bronze and aluminum bronze, other than the fact that the obvious of sulfur being doping and aluminum being doping, is the aluminum bronze starts out more as a yellow on the yellow gold end of the spectrum of coloring, and the sulfur bronze starts out more on the rose tone, which I personally prefer, but I understand why people like the aluminum bronze. And as I've learned through this process of learning all about bronze, metals have grains just like wood has grains. And on the aluminum bronze, the grain is wider, and on the sulfur bronze, the grain is tighter. That's why if you're holding an aluminum bronze watch, you can actually feel kind of a roughness. I'm talking even before a patina. You can feel kind of a roughness. When it's a sulfur, it's more smooth, like the smoothness of a stainless steel. Now, in the particular case of this watch, this is actually what we call pre-patina, which sometimes people find is a misnomer because it's not before it's patinaed, it's actually after it's patinaed, but meaning that we pre-patina it. And this is done by the chief designer of Vostok-Europe, Costa Markin. He does these by hand in Vilnius, and this is a hand artisan process where they actually take the case of the watch, they remove everything, and all they have is the case. And then they dip the case in this chemical bath that then when it adheres to everything, and when they pull it out, it looks like a barnacle you took off of a ship. And then it's a reductive rather than an additive process, meaning that they leave behind the patina they want to have show, and he has special tools to remove the patina. So that's why these are a little more expensive, because this is a hand-done process. It takes, it actually takes 24 to 48 hours, depending upon when you start it, to do the whole thing, and then of course the physical process is quite arduous. This is an automatic mechanical watch. It is a 30 ATM, so that puts it well above professional grade dive specs. It comes with this amazing packaging. We've kind of got it in a half and half configuration here. This is a true Pelican case, actually made at the Pelican factory, but these are custom for Vostok-Europe. Just to get, so you can just listen to the.
Yeah, you don't need to get close for that. By
No,
the way.
I didn't. You're right.
You're just fine.
Yeah, this is a serious
Yeah, it is.
case, okay? It's also convertible to hold 4 watches. We've got it set for 2 here. It comes set up for the watch itself, and then hidden away, James Bond style, are the holders to turn it into a 4-watch case, and even really cool, even more, underneath the foam on the back, you can flip it over and put multiple straps in here.
I think the design on this is smart. It's
rocks.
really cool. Yeah.
This is a $100 value, and anybody who knows Pelican cases knows I'm not exaggerating. This is a $100 value coming with a watch by itself.
So did I misunderstand? This is made by Pelican?
They make them at the same Pelican factory. They're not
Wow.
marked Pelican because
Right.
it is a Vostok-Europe
Vostok-Europe.
product. But this is made at the Pelican
I didn't
factory.
realize that's.
I
no wonder
learned that
these
for
are
the
100
I
bucks.
learned that for the first time at JCK. I didn't
Did
know
not know that. That also explains 2 things. One, why it's valued at $100, and 2, that sound. When this thing, it's
Like I said, I don't have to get close.
it's the real die case. Oh no, you don't.
It's a serious die case. So that comes with the energy. You were like, you're going to ask a question.
No, actually, I just wanted to mention, for those of you who are just tuning in and you're going, are you guys going to show prices? No, but if you'll hit the link off to the side, and it's whether you're on YouTube Live or on Facebook Live, hit that link, all the prices will drop. This is an agreement that we have with the brands that Craig Hester, our guest today on the first ever TAW remote, we have this agreement. And you are getting the lowest price in the United States, guaranteed, with shipping included. So you don't have to wait for it to come up specifically on the show. All the pricing is live right now. Just hit the link and you guys are good to go. I just learned a lot about this Pelican case, by the way.
I did actually during JCK this year.
Yeah.
Now, a couple of things that are important to note: it does come with 2 straps, and it comes with a changing a changing tool. And one of the things, and this is the beauty of the fact that we're TAW and we're not limited by a specific time frame.
Right.
I want to show them. You take off. This is one of the thing I love about Vostok-Europe. Many things I love about Vostok-Europe, but their attention to detail and their thought. Look at the conversion of this to the 4-piece.
Right.
The thinking that goes into every inch of this is they're using every inch of this as value for the owner
Right,
of
it's
the
not an
watch.
excuse for a case. This
Right,
is the real
right.
thing, and then they take it even one step further.
Right. So one of the things that Igor and his team did on the Energia, you notice that this is a split lug strap. Okay. One of the things that a lot of people don't like about buying a watch with a split lug strap is the fear of, well, what's going to happen 5-10 years from now when I can't get this custom strap again, which, by the way, Vostok-Europe keeps their straps in for a long time. But setting that aside, and it's a phenomenally
Yeah,
well-made strap.
that's a gorgeous
It's
strap.
going to take a while to wear this strap out. But setting that to one side, that's a concern. I love this watch, but I don't want to buy a split lug strap because it's going to be a pain in the butt to put on a different strap later. Well, you see these 2 rings in the center. On most watches, those would be fused to the case. So then you are stuck with a split lug strap. Not Vostok-Europe. Take out you can't call it a pin because it's a frippin' bar. You take out the bar that will hold up a 10-pound weight. I mean, you can just, that right there shows you the quality. You pull out the strap. These are removable. So if you
That's
want to
really cool.
So if you want to put, in fact, some guys have. If you haven't joined Vostok-Europe Timepieces on Facebook, you should ask to join. It is a closed group. You have to ask to join. There are questions you have to answer. We don't want trolls. We don't want people coming in and putting watches from other brands that aren't approved. This is a group for people who love our brands and want to be a part of that community. But if you're not a member, be a member, because you'll see there are guys who've had custom straps made that don't have the splits, and they put it in there and it works. And it's just, I mean, that attention to detail, that thinking of, we know this person is going to wear this watch for years. How do we make it so that if the strap goes bad, they can put something different in there? I just love that. You don't see that kind of thinking in every watch brand. You just don't.
No, you don't. But it's brilliant.
It's brilliant. Also, this has the helium release valve, which Igor, being a physicist, went into great detail explaining to us how that actually works, which that I won't go into great detail here, but it is fascinating. One of the things I did learn is, and I won't go into all the technical scientific things about that, but one of the things I did learn is part of the reason is, and I'm not a diver, you're a diver, I'm not going to be telling you anything you don't know. It's the size of the helium molecule is so small, no matter how good your seals are on the watch, the helium, if you're saturation diving, is going to get into the watch. So you need this spring-loaded release so that the helium will come out without damaging the case when you're coming up. It's almost like the watch would have had the bends if you didn't have...
No, it's not like. It's exactly what the watch has.
Yeah, so it does have the automatic helium release valve. I'm trying to make sure I'm covering all the major things. I think that's it. This, I will tell you guys, this one always sells out. Always sells out. Tritium. Yes, tritium. I forgot, this has tritium tube technology.
Yes.
Okay, and Vostok-Europe does great things with tritium tube technology. If you're not familiar with what that is, the 30-second commercial on that is, they are laser-sealed glass tubes made by a company in Switzerland called MV Microtech. I've actually had the pleasure of touring their facility in Switzerland. It is a fascinating process. By using this substance called tritium, which is radioactive, but I make absolutely sure everybody understands it is not dangerous to humans. They've been building these since 1960. There's never been one case of any human ever being hurt by tritium. But because it is radioactive, what it's doing is it's agitating basically in the tube is what you think of as superluminova. Okay, and the tritium is agitating the superluminova all the time. And the beauty of tritium, while it is not as bright as superluminova is when you first charge superluminova, you could put this watch in a drawer for 5 years. You take it out, it's still illuminated. Whereas we all know Superluminova, even the best Superluminova, my brand, Bramsius, we use 15 silkscreen layers of true Superluminova. We have some of the best, anybody would tell you, and I know I'm sidetracking to our brand for a second, they will tell you that Bramsius has some of the best loom in the industry. But it doesn't matter how good it is, you charge it in the sun, and it's not going to be that long later. If you get a couple of hours out of it, you're excited. You know that it's going to fade. If you have a dive watch, a sport watch that you need to have illuminated over the long haul, tritium is your best option.
And I can vouch, and in fact, we're going to be getting to a Lunicode, and I happen to wear one of my favorite pieces in my collection, the Lunicode 2. With the tritium tubes, and it is the coolest thing. Like in my case, I've got a lot of the watches stored in a closet. When you open it in the dark, anything with tritium tube just lights up, and I might not have been in there for a while. You guys are going to, and a lot of you already know this, of course, but if you are new, and if you want to try the next level, the coolest thing currently in luminous technology and wristwatches, I highly recommend checking out tritium. And in my experience, candidly, I think for just the sheer creativity of design, I think Vostok-Europe realistically has delivered some of the most interesting.
Well, that was exactly where I was going next, is what I love about how Vostok-Europe handles tritium is they do not do it in traditional fashions like most companies do. They have some watches that are more traditional with the
Sure,
tritium,
of course.
but they've done we have the two most interesting tritium executions that Vostok-Europe does right here. What they do, a lot of people ask me all the time, Tim, why doesn't Vostok-Europe do a T100? And I'm not going to go into the whole technical thing about what makes a T25 and a T100, but the bottom line is a T100 is a brighter tritium watch because it either will have more tubes or it's going to have longer tubes that are allowed to have more tritium. Well, there's only two countries in the world that you can import T100. That's the US and the UK. So as Vostok-Europe has 33 distributors around the world, it doesn't really make economic sense for them to build a watch that's only going to be available for two distributors. Whereas you take, and I'll name another brand that we don't work with, but I'm friends with the owner, Deep Blue, is primarily a US-based brand. I'm not saying he doesn't sell in other parts of the world, but he's a primary US-based brand. That's where the bulk of his customer base is. It makes perfect sense for him to do a T100.
Sure.
So Igor has said, well, I'm not going to do a T100, but what I'm going to do is do everything I can to maximize the illumination of the T25 that we built. The first thing, to skip ahead to the next watch for a second that they did, is the Lunicode several years ago.
Well, why don't we just move to it?
All right, let's move to the Lunicode. We've talked about this one.
Yeah.
But I'm going to come back just to show how the tritium works on this too. The Lunicode 2, which came out about 6 years ago, this is by far the most complicated case that Vostok-Europe makes. When you're looking at the detail shots, you'll see the level of detail that goes into how the lugs are set. It has a multi-layered dial. I mean, we're not talking about just a sandwich dial. We're talking a base layer, then a layer above that. Then there's a stadium, then there's another layer where the tritium tubes are, then there's another stadium. I mean, this is a 6 or 7 piece dial configuration on this. It is a highly detailed and beautiful casework.
Yeah,
well,
it is.
One of the things that Vostok-Europe realized is if you talk about regular tritium tube configurations, most of the time they're laying flat on the dial, okay, or actually even sometimes they're countersunk on the dial. So you're immediately eliminating half of the illumination there. It's hidden because it's against the dial. So on the Lunicode 2, what Vostok-Europe did is they stood the tritium tubes up and they put them in a reflective candle holder configuration, so you're getting 360-degree illumination. And not only are you getting 360-degree illumination, that illumination is bouncing against the reflective material they put inside the candle holders to really, I won't say, because I don't like to overstate things, I won't say that it makes a T25 a T100, but it definitely makes it brighter than any standard T25 you're going to find.
Oh, no question.
No question about that. And in fact, another thing I learned from Igor this time, and I love when we just get to hang out, and by the way, I'm going to Hong Kong this year, and he's so excited that I'm going because he's going, and we're going to have a great time. When we just hang out, because he forgets, or he'll assume I know things, you know, you know what I mean, you don't know what you don't know what the other person, and we just start chatting, and he was telling me about how the company that they use to make this chapter ring where the tubes are put in, because Vostok-Europe can't do that in Vilnius, okay?
Right?
Because that is a controlled process that has to be done in a controlled facility. They hate this watch because it is a royal pain in the butt to do these stand-up tubes and get it right. And of course, you know Igor, if these chapter rings come in
and that tube isn't standing perfect.
Oh, it's going to be a problem.
It's going back.
Yep, back.
So
it
he
will
told me,
go.
he said every time they do a batch of Lunicodes, that the company says, we really wish you'd stop making this dang watch because it's a total pain in the butt, which adds to cost, by the way. This is not an inexpensive watch for, comparatively speaking, to, say, Swiss brands or whatever, of course. But in the Vostok-Europe world, this is an expensive watch. By the way, it also comes with, well, we have a special deal going for TAW. I will mention again, pricing is not going to be live on the show. There won't be any stingers showing the pricing, anything like that. You've got to go to TAW. We do that for a number of reasons, but the biggest reason is we want the show to be evergreen. We don't want to have to pull it down because pricing has evaporated on the site because these are flash sales, 5 to 7 days, and once the pricing is gone, it's gone. So we keep the pricing that way so that you can go back and you watch the video. It's evergreen. You're not having to worry about what the pricing may or may not be. So we're getting close to the end here. We're going to give you pop through a couple more specs and everything and get everything wrapped up. Before I move into a little bit deeper on the Lunico 2, as we're continuing to talk about tritium, I did want to mention how they did it on the Energia. There are these V-shaped reflectors, and to really show how old I am and something that you should never do anymore, they're a lot like those V-shaped reflectors people used to use in the 70s and 60s to get the sun to come up on their face, which no doctor would ever recommend today. But that's the idea. The tube lays in the center and it's reflecting off of each side. Again, Igor is all about maximizing everything for the end user of his watch and maximizing the lume. On the Lunico 2 that we have here, first of all, this is the YM86. This is a multifunction movement from Seiko. This one has actually several other functions that aren't in the gas limo from earlier. This is a perpetual calendar. It has the day of the week, it has the date of the month, it has the month of the year, and it has a 24-hour chronograph. Now, just to make that clear, when I say a 24-hour chronograph, I mean you can measure an event up to 24 hours long. I'm still trying to figure out what that event may be other than maybe labor. But anyway, you can measure an event up to 24 hours, and it does include an alarm. We do have a special, and just quickly, these are in the 48, 49 millimeter range, clearly a much bigger watch than the gas limos. These are the true sport watches that live up to the going to extremes name that Vostok-Europe has as their slogan. This is a Lunico 2, beautiful case back. Tim and I are not going to spend a lot of time talking about that today, but Vostok-Europe does believe in the art of the beautiful caseback, which we both feel like is kind of going the way of the dodo, and we're sad about that. This is a beautiful etching of the Lunico 2, which is a lunar rover. It actually held the record for the longest operating lunar rover on the moon up until the Chinese broke it quite recently. They broke that record. But it is a beautiful piece of equipment that I actually got to see in person, not the real one that's on the moon, but the working test. I haven't been to the moon. I'm working on it. That was used as
Green screen that, y'all.
Yeah, there we go. That was used as the test, the pre-test model was in London at the Science Museum there. They had a showing of Soviet and Russian space capsules and different space material. It was quite fascinating, and they had the Lunico 2 there. The one thing that you definitely are going to get with TAW on this deal, which is not standard. First of all, this also has the Pelican case. This is a smaller one. It's not convertible to hold more than one, but it is still the same level of quality. You can hear it when I close it. We actually, these are so tight. We have a tool in the office when we're loading the if we had to do this all day by hand, we would have blisters on our fingers. This is not hyperbole. We have a tool to open this when we're loading the watches for shipping because it is that serious of a dive case, especially after they just, I know we don't have much time left and we got to get going, but when they ship, because they ship by air, they get really vacuum sealed because of the changes in pressure. So when they come to the office, when you first open this up, it is like, good God, will it ever open? So we have to do it with a tool. Anyway, so you're getting the great Pelican case. One of the things we are offering with TAW, this is not a normal part of the package, is you're going to get 3 instead of 2 straps with this Lunico 2. So if you want to have all 3, if you really want to go the full boat, which I know Tim will, with the really bright interface colors, you've got the orange that matches the orange Pantone on the watch. You've also got the black silicone, and then you've got the leather with the contrast stitching. What are you trying to tell me, Abe? Oh. I see Abe moving his hand in the background, and I think he's trying to, you're forgetting something, Craig, which he does with me all the time. Why silicone? Of course, and by the way, Tim will attest, it is the most supple silicone.
Oh, yeah, it is.
In the world. It is unbelievably supple, soft silicone on the wrist. No break-in period at all. Obviously, this is a true dive watch. You're going to want the silicone either for wearing in the summer or for when you're going to be in the water. You do not want to take this unbelievably high-quality leather strap into water. I know that's kind of a no kidding statement, but I've had people send, like they wear the watch in water and everything. It's like, it's a water resistant watch. And they're like, I don't know what happened to the strap. Well, it's leather, dude. So just, if you're going to be doing any kind of water sports, you really do want to put the silicone on. So you're going to get the 3 straps. That is not the standard package. So you are getting something extra here with TAW. For a quick recap, we have 2 dress watches from the only dress line that Vostok-Europe still makes, the Gas Limo. You have the OS22 standard chronograph with the one special function on this is it does have the retrograde for the 20th of a second measurement. And then you have the multi-function with the Seiko movement, the YM26. Those are both very much more dressy watches. They're not intended to be sport watches. It's a 5 ATM. This is for wearing out on a night on the town or what you're going to wear to work if you in an office environment or so forth. Then 2 of what are definitely, what I do with the energy?
Right behind.
It's right behind me. There it is.
There.
These are 2 of the, no question, top of the line, most aggressive dive sport watches that Vostok-Europe makes, including the tritium tubes, multiple complications on the case. For the bronze, the last 4 digits are the 0825. I don't have the hang tag on this one, so I'm not sure what the last 4 digits are, but it'll be on TAW where Abe is pointing.
It's on the other strap.
It's on the other strap. It's on the other strap.
See what you did there.
I see what you did there. The A506. So I'm excited because our company, the Detente Watch Group, which is the exclusive North American distributor for Vostok-Europe timepieces, were able to be a part of the first ever remote.
It worked out, and we were able
Yeah.
to, again, get the permission to shoot here, which is awesome. So while I'm thinking about it, thanks to the partners at Black Rabbit Nashville to help put this together.
And as always, to
it
Sebastian
was-
for his
Yeah,
for
thank
his
you,
work
Sebastian
at the board.
Lopinois, doing fantastic work. Hope you guys, again, like the show. Hit the link. You can check out everything. And again, if you're checking it out during the 5 to 7 day after the show originally airs, you will have a guarantee of the lowest price in the United States, and shipping is included. And may I say, you guys picked out some brilliant watches.
I'm really
This is
excited
a
about what we got this
fantastic
time. Yep.
lineup. So we're going to wrap this up. Thank you again for tuning in, and we will see you guys all back very soon for another edition of Talk About Watches Live. Be well, everybody.
And as always, keep watching.
Oh, snap.